Hi, everyone. Welcome. Today I'm stopping by to tell you about my meditation. It's a very simple one in the best tradition of people like, dare I say, John of the Cross, Miguel Molinos, Madame Guillaume, Francois Fénelon, people like that. I think Brother Lawrence, practicing the presence is what we want. We want to get out of our own. See, when we escape from God, when we escape from reality, the way things really are, we fall into our imagination, into our thoughts, and it's like an alternative world, isn't it? An ersatz world, a virtual world, where we can be king and queen or judge, jury, and executioner, where we make judgments upon things, where we think ourselves to be right, and where we plan and scheme for our greatness and glory, just like a little tin horn god. But the more we do that, the guiltier we become guilty before the real God, who we are playing. We're playing God. So we hide in our imagination, and we fantasize, and then to continue our escape from reality, we go into the past and relive the past, and then we plan and scheme for what we want to do. But increasingly, our guilt grows, our fear grows, our doubts grow, and our, what's the word to use? Not our conflict, but our trouble grows because we sense that we're playing God. We know we don't really know. We can't really make things happen. And so we begin to worry. What if this? What if that? We're afraid that when we do our plans and schemes, they're not going to work out the way we want it to. And we're going to fall on our face like we did so many times. You planned what you were going to say to somebody, you went to them and said it, and it was all wrong. Well, the answer is to come back to reality. Because, see, here's the problem. If you were just living in your fantasy world, separate from reality, that would be bad enough because you'd make a lot of mistakes, you'd do dumb things, and you wouldn't get things right, and you'd be hiding from God. So that's definitely not good. But what gets worse is that when you're in your fantasy world, you become subject to that which can contact your soul through the subconscious mind and through the imagination. And other people, other influences, people who are clever at manipulating, hypnotists, they're everywhere. They're not just on a stage in Las Vegas. Hypnotists are everywhere. A lot of them don't even know they're hypnotists. They just know that when they appeal to you in a certain way, when they get you emotional or get you excited, then they know they have control over you and they can get you to see things their way or whatever. Or they know they can upset you, and then when you get upset, you feel guilty, and then you'll come around and out of guilt, you'll do what they want. So people know that, and they use it. So you become subject to that, and you become subject to the other side of matter. See, on one side, there's the bright side, and then there's the dark side, just like there's the bright side of the force and the dark side of the force. You become subject to the dark side, which operates through matter, and in your case, through your subconscious mind, through your imagination, and so on. So you're no longer really king and queen there. Now you're subject. And who is the ruler of this hell in which you find your mind and in which increasingly you are living in this hell of worry and torment and doubts and fears and compulsions and everything else? Well, it's the guy with the horns, okay? He's really the guy in charge of all that stuff. So you want to come back to reality. So the problem with so many of the meditations is they're just no good. But worse yet, they keep you subject to what I was just talking about. They have visualizations. See? What is that? It's just imagination. So you think so the problem with that is, number one, you're placing yourself in their hands, whoever it is that is painting word pictures for you or telling you to do this or to imagine that. They're the hypnotist. They're saying, imagine a lake, imagine a beautiful swan on the lake, imagine yourself sitting, see? And when you start you're doing what they're telling you to do when you do that. So they're in charge. See? So that's bad enough, but remember, you should be in charge of your own self, and you should be subject to God. And then God will be in charge of you and your imagination and your intellect and everything else. So the other thing is blanking the mind. Trying to blank the mind are still thoughts. Not good. Yeah, let's see, how can I say this? You want to be still with your soul. Your soul is still, and you observe thoughts. See? Don't try to blank thoughts. Don't try to control thoughts. Don't try to push thoughts away. Don't struggle with thoughts. Don't try to alter your thoughts. Just become still with your soul, and then you can observe thought. See, you can observe it instead of being lost in it. See, now you get lost in it. It rises up and you get lost in it. You fall into it. You fall into worries, into doubts, into fears, into planning, into nostalgia, into all this stuff. You fall into it. No. Stand back, stay above it all, and watch. Watch what's there. All right, there's a thought. And then you'll be able to see the ones that are not. You'll be able to see the ones that are kind of okay and the ones that are not okay. So where do they come from? Some people hear thoughts in their mind. They even hear, really negative thoughts or blasphemous thoughts or not all kinds of thoughts. Where do they come from? They're not your thoughts. If they were your thoughts, you could control them at will. See? And you also know they're not your thoughts because you're embarrassed by them. See? So they're not your thoughts. So wherever they are, don't even try to figure out where they're from. Just watch them until they dissipate and go away. And they come back and just watch them. And then sometimes, so you have to, so that's part of it. So that's good. Then the other part is just learning not to fall into thought so much. The thoughts are still going to rise up and try to grab you. They're going to do that for a long, long time. So the rest of your life will simply be a process of learning to snap out. Snap out of the daydream. You find yourself lost in a daydream, thinking about what you're going to do or what you're going to eat or where you're going to go. Notice that you were lost in the daydream and snap out. And then, a few minutes later, you see you're lost. You get lost in thought again. And snap out. That's all. Just keep snapping out. Snapping out. Back to reality. There's a thought. Don't struggle with it. Don't try to fight it. Just immediately, the moment you see that you were lost in thought, that's the moment when you're the observer. You're separate from it. That's all you need to do. Whatever the thoughts are, don't bother. You don't have to feel guilty for them anymore either. Okay, there's a thought. Just don't indulge it. On the one hand, don't struggle with it on the other. Just watch it until it dissipates, it goes away. Thoughts a lot of times are like naughty school kids. You have a classroom and the teacher's gone, and for a while everybody's behaving, and then 5 minutes go by and somebody does something, and then somebody else does something, and pretty soon an eraser flies through the air, and then somebody screams, and then a chair falls over, and there's all kinds of foolishness going on, and pandemonium is just about ready to break out, and then the door opens, and there's a teacher, and everything quiets down. All right, so your thoughts are like that. So, have you got the idea? You want to come back to reality. That's where God is. He's in reality. He made reality. Everything around you, he made it. So why would you want to be lost in your imagination? Look, when you're little children, little children have very active imagination. And of course, parents have to watch that because little kids' imagination can get away with them. Go carry them away, can't it? They think the trees are outside, in the wind. The wind is blowing and the trees are waving, or the branches are waving around at night and brushing up against, the leaves are brushing against the window, and the child thinks it's a ghost or something. You see what I mean? So anyway, little children's imagination can get carried away. So parents have to be there to be watchful. Just like your soul needs to be watchful. Now your soul is like a captive of everything else and everybody else's ideas and what was put in your mind, and of the emotions and of compulsions and everything. Your soul is no longer sovereign. See, the fact that your thoughts run away with you, the fact that you sit there worrying and doubting and fearing, the fact that all of that is, and the fact that you can't control your emotions, it's evidence that your soul is no longer in charge. Something else is in charge. Just about all kinds of things can set you off. They're in charge. So I think you got the idea. Come back to reality where God is and practice sitting in his presence and watching thoughts instead of being lost in them. So the meditation, of course, it's free, absolutely free. And I think it would be real good. You can get it at sheddingshackles.com. Couldn't hurt. Give it a try.